Hey friends, this is Dana from Sela Creative Company. Welcome to my backyard here on the Oregon coast. Today I'm going to teach you how to make this double layered rainbow stitch sampler. If you ordered the basic kit, you'll receive a wooden stitch plate, a wooden rainbow overlay, a base, and a cardboard aligner that we'll use to line up the stitch plate with the rainbow overlay. You may have also ordered the kit with the basic travel bobbin and needle binder, or the full kit that includes the travel bobbin and needle binder with a full set of colors, either the bright rainbow or the pastel, and 2 needles. What you will need to provide is a pair of embroidery scissors. And my personal preference is also to use a small needle nose pliers to help with the French knots. I'm also going to be using a hands-free embroidery stand so that I can use both hands while I'm teaching you. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this into the stand. And you'll notice on here that there's a series of score lines that are going to help guide us along on which stitches we're going to be doing on a few of them. I'm actually going to use the bright rainbow thread on this one. And we're going to start with the easiest stitch, which is called the running stitch. And that running stitch is going to go along the second line of the rainbow. So I'm going to grab my second color, and you really don't need a lot for this one. I'm going to grab my needle from my needle minder. I'm going to thread my needle. And then instead of tying a knot right up front, I'm going to go ahead and tie my knot from the back of this. So the way that we're going to start is from the bottom. We're going to go through the first hole and just have a tail. And then we're going to go down through the second hole. And then we're going to flip this over. And I'm going to tie a double knot from here. Wood embroidery is a little bit different than fabric embroidery in the sense that you kind of have to tie off the knots in the non-traditional embroidery way, just because you're working with actual holes that are a lot bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and then just trim off that tail. And then I'm going to turn this back over. Okay, so we have our first stitch, and a running stitch is basically like a dashed line. So we've already got our first stitch in place. Then we're going to skip to the third one, come up, go down, and one more time, up, and go down. And this is all it is. Just a basic up, down, up, down. We're going to go all the way around the rainbow, and then we'll tie off at the end over here. Once we finished, we're on the back side, we're just going to tie this off by going through the last stitch. I'm going to pull that snug, and then I'm going to go through again, and then take my needle through the loop and pull tight. I'm gonna do that one more time for safe measure. Okay. And then we're gonna snip that off. And that is the running stitch. The next stitch that we're gonna do is the cross stitch, because I find that one to be pretty easy to do as well. This is actually the 1, 2, 3, 4th color. So I'm gonna get out my travel bobbin again. This one you're gonna need more thread for because it's just gonna take more length. So I'm gonna get quite a bit out here. Cut that off. Touch it so it doesn't go away. Leave a nice long tail on there. Okay. So we're gonna start on either side, but I'm gonna start over here. I'm gonna go up through the bottom, leave a tail. I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna cross and go down through the next hole. So you see it's the cross like that. Now I'm going to flip this over really fast. We're gonna tie it off. Trim it. Flip it back over. And now we're going to finish this cross stitch by starting on the other stitch on the right here. And then go down and just make a cross or an X. See? Just like that. That's called a cross stitch. Then I'm going to go straight up to this next hole. Go down across. Go up and across. And we'll do it one more time. And down. Okay, now that we have that entire row of cross stitch, and we are going to tie it off by just going through a neighboring stitch. Go through it twice, and then take your needle through the loop and pull tight. The next stitch that we're going to do is called the stem stitch. We're going to use the first color. Thread the needle. For the stem stitch, we're going to start by starting below, and we're going to go through the first hole, leave a tail, and then we're going to skip the second hole and go through the third. Then you're going to flip it over and tie off your knot. Give it a quick trim. Now that we've got it going through the first and third holes, we're going to come from underneath and we're going to go through the second hole, and I'm going to kind of pull the stitch just to the bottom of the hole, and we're going to come through that hole. Now we're going to skip the third and we're going to go to the fourth. I'm going to keep a small loop of this in my hand, and before pulling this tight, I'm actually going to start the next stitch up by coming through the third hole and then pulling tight and then going through the fifth hole. The reason why I did that is that it ensures that the stitch always looks like it's twisting in the same direction. And we're just going to keep skipping and going back one, and skipping and going back one. Skip. Go back one while holding that in place. Skip. Go back one, holding it in place. The last stitch, we're going to come back through, we're going to go back up again, and then we're going to come back down through that last hole. Okay, we're going to flip it over. I'm going to tie off that stitch. You'll notice that I'm holding the back, the last stitch on the front, just so that it doesn't loosen when I do this. And then I'm going to tie it off one more time. And give it a snip. So we have the stem stitch, the running stitch, and the cross stitch. This next stitch is called the chain stitch. So it's our 1, 2, third color. So we're going to go ahead and use our third color here, which is yellow. Go ahead and unwind that. You're going to need quite a bit of this because you're going to be looping it. So maybe, I don't know, 36 to 48 inches would be probably good. Snip. Secure that back in place. Take your needle. Now, I personally think that the chain stitch is the most complex stitch that we are going to be doing today. So bear with me as I try to teach it to you. I'm going to start on the back with this one, and we're just going to tie off a stitch. I'll go ahead and do it to the green. Just tie off a double knot. There we go. And then we're going to turn it back around. So we're going to come through the bottom and go up And then we're going to go back down through the same hole. So we're going to go up, pull it all the way through. We're going to start going back down through the same hole, but I'm going to keep some of this in a loop in my finger here. I don't want it to go all the way through. So we're going to go back down through the same hole. See how I have that loop? Now I'm going to start going up through the next hole, the second hole, and I'm going to catch my needle through the loop like this. And as I pull it tight, it's going to make a loop here. So that'll be like the first part of our chain. And then we're going to go back down through the same hole. So hole number 2, go back down through the same thing, but don't let go of this loop in the front of you, because this is going to be your next loop for your next stitch. So hold on to that. Go through the third hole. Catch your needle through the loop. And then pull snug. And there's your second chain. Just like that. So now kind of keep that snug. You're going to go back down through the third hole. Don't let go of this loop in your thumb. Come up through the fourth hole. And you're going to catch the loop again to make your third chain. Go back down through the fourth hole. Going to hold on to the loop again. Go up through the fifth. Needle through the loop. And pull that snug again. And we're just going to continue doing that. Okay, and then we're just going to go back down through that last hole. Flip this over. And then we're going to tie it off. One more time. Lastly, we have the French knots in the center. I'm going to actually use a combination of the 5th and the 6th color here and just scatter them randomly back and forth throughout here. So we'll start with the 5th one and unwind. Tuck that in, thread the needle. And then we're going to flip this over again real quick. And we're going to tie it off on another stitch. So we're going to start from the bottom and we're going to go through a hole. Now, we're going to take our needle. If you're a righty, you're going to do this in your right hand. I'll explain it as a righty. And if you're a lefty, just do it the opposite way. But take the needle in your right hand, pointed left. Take the thread that's coming out of the hole in your left hand. You're going to wrap it around the needle 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then keep holding on to this. And then you're going to push the needle back through the hole. And I kind of pull snug but not super tight. And the goal is to keep those wraps on the top of the hole. So then you're going to pull through. And pull slowly so it doesn't get tangled. And I actually am keeping my finger down here. I'm keeping it on the, I'm pushing like the bottom of this plate here in an effort to make sure that all of those things don't go through the hole. Let's do it again. So I'm going to go up through a hole. There we go. Right needle in the right hand facing left. With the left hand, I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3 times, keeping this taut. Put it back through the hole, pulling just a little bit with your left hand. I'm going to just hold it in place with my thumb here, and I'm going to pull down gently because you don't want all of those wraps to go through the hole. Pull down gently, and then just pull until it's snug here. If you do pull super hard, you'll pull these knots through the hole, so you don't want to do that. Okay, let's do it again. Needle, wrap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Back down through the hole. Keep your left hand on that string, pull taut, push down, and gently pull it through the hole. And then we'll just keep doing that. If you are having difficulty pulling down, that's where these needle nose pliers come into play really well. I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, wrap through, hold that in place, push the needle through, and then I'm going to grab my needle nose pliers and I'm going to pinch the needle and then just pull through like that if it gets a little stuck. But again, remember, just be super gentle because the goal is to keep these little flowers on top of the holes and not pull through. Okay, and we'll turn this over. I'm going to tie it off. Ooh, let's see here. This way looks better. There we go. When you're tying it off, just don't pull too tight because you don't want to pull that rosebud through, or the French knot through the hole. Woo. There we go. And then we'll use that last color as well. Okay, turn it over, let's tie it off. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now we're just going to turn that over, tie it off. Right here, looks good. Not going to pull tight because that's on the tail of a French knot, but oops. There we go. We've got our back panel all stitched up, and now we are going to be adding the front panel over the top of it. And we're going to do so by using this cardboard guide to help us out. So we're going to put the cardboard guide down, and then we're going to put our back plate in next. You will notice that the back side of the front plate has double stick tape on it. We're going to peel that tape off, and this side is sticky. Now you get one shot at this, okay? You get one shot at this, so make it good, make it count. You're going to take your piece, place it on top of your other one, and then push it down in all the places. And then you can take that guide off. And now you have 2 layers. Just like that. And then you're going to take your stand and you're going to place it in your stand. This should fit snug. Just like that. And then add to any shelf as decoration. Thanks for joining me today for this instructional video. I hope you enjoyed it. For other stitch-related products, please visit me at selacreativecompany.com or on Instagram at selacreativecompany. Have a great day.